kinds of Griha Pravesham generally celebrated in India. When a woman gets married, she will do Griha Pravesham, that is, she'll enter her husband's house, it's a big event. Not anymore because they've already lived together, Otherwise, it was a major event. And they made this into a very sacred process because one thing is what kind of woman enters your house will determine the nature of your life and what kind of children you bear, your future, your progeny, how they live, everything is determined by what kind of woman enters. That's one thing. Another thing is how she enters also determines, whatever kind, how she enters is very important. So they wanted her to enter this house with utmost honor, with utmost auspiciousness, because it's very important that she enters this house with love. It's very important she enters this house wanting to give herself totally to whatever that is. If she enters with something else in her mind and in her heart, she can ruin that family in million different ways. She can bear the wrong kind of children. They're aware of all these things. That if she enters this house with a certain type of emotion, tomorrow when she conceives, she will draw the wrong kind of life and she will bear the wrong kind of children, which will make you suffer for the rest of your life. If a child enters your house, he can freak the hell out of you, okay? No? You don't think so? So, how she enters is very important. So, there's a whole lot of ritual around this, how she enters the house. This is one Griha Pravesham, it's an old house, but she's entering. So, a big ritual around this. The ritual got smaller and smaller and smaller, and now she enters the house before she's married, so it doesn't mean anything anymore, how she enters, because you need to understand this. Today, marriage means you thinking just of a little bit of romance between the two people. That's not how they looked at it. They looked at it as a partnership which is going to determine everything about them and their children, and how the future of this family happens depends on what kind of woman and how she enters this house. So they took elaborate care so that she enters the house properly. The other kind of Griha Pravesham is you built a new house and your family wants to move in. So, you want the house to be in the right kind of condition for you to move in. The design of the house, the aesthetics of the house, what kind of paint, what kind of this, all this is different. That is also important. But what kind of energy fills this space is very, very important. So before you live there, nobody ever sleeps in a house which is uninitiated. So it is a minor form of consecrating the space. Before moving into the house must be… the space must be consecrated, otherwise people won't go and live there. All these things that were done were essentially to create a certain enhanced sense of life energy so that the people who live in this house will naturally move towards well-being. And this sense of no human being should live in an unconsecrated space is something which is deep-rooted in this culture, because it is just like if you plant something into this earth, only if the roots are sticking into a rich earth will the flower and the fruit come out. If the earth into which these roots are sticking in is not rich enough, is not enhanced enough to sustain life, flower and fruit will not come. Even if it comes, it will be too meager. It will never be a full-blown flowering, it will never be a full-blown fruiting of the plant. So always these aspects, we gave enormous importance to these aspects of life. It's not just about what you eat, it's not just about what kind of work you do, what kind of space you live in. This is very important in the East. So, people always consecrated their homes in whichever way they know best, and only then moved in. If the kings were sensible and benevolent, they consecrated the whole town. They created any number of places in the town so that the whole town is consecrated. He wants everybody to live in consecrated spaces. If you walk on the street, if you do business, if you live in that town, everyone must constantly live in consecrated space, because if you want to produce generations of enhanced human beings, you need this kind of space. Otherwise, only by accident or by personal dint, somebody may become something. You won't produce a generation of beautiful people. This culture produced a galaxy of knowledge, a galaxy of enlightened beings. Every generation produced this simply because they took care of any number of aspects like this. Nowhere else on this planet have single generations of people risen to such glorious heights of knowing as this culture has known. But all that got fractured in the last few hundred years. In the last 800 to 900 years, this got badly fractured because of invasions and displacement of people and so many things. You can produce very great intellects, very great energy, as human beings I'm saying, individual human beings carrying phenomenal sense of energy and intellect and capability. If you create large spaces of consecrated space, large consecrated spaces where the whole generation of people are in touch with that kind of energy and space. This fortune almost every family had, because before they moved into homes, they did this. Periodically, they did something to enhance the house. This is part of almost every house. Every household, at least once a year, conducted the needed rituals and processes to see that the space in the house is enhanced. A basic understanding, or rather an essential understanding of how to generate a conducive atmosphere for a human being to grow to his full potential. When we say a full potential, today's world is thinking of full potential only as how much money can he make. Their idea of success has become so rudimentary. Modern idea of success is unfortunately extremely rudimentary and gross. How far can you climb in the social ladder? How much money have you made? This is all the idea of success. So, the idea of success was not like this, it was very broad-based and very profound. Someone was considered successful only if he's in a certain state of blissfulness, if he's in a certain state of knowing about himself and the world that he lives in, and socially he's honored, and materially he's prosperous, and he's able to earn the love of his family and friends and society, only then he's considered a successful man. That's how this society looked at it. It doesn't matter how much money he had, if he did not earn people's love, they would say his life is wasted. Even till last generation, this was almost in daily conversation. People would say, what does it matter how much money you have? Have you earned people's love? Does your family love you? Does who live around you love you? Are you honored by other people's love or not? This is the most important thing. It is not like a philosophy, it was a common thing in the world, in the society, which in a matter of 30 to 40 years, we have managed to uproot it quite substantially, you know. So Griha Pravachan was just this, that you want to create the right kind of soil for this plant to grow and flower and fruit. If it's properly done, unfortunately, people who conduct these things became corrupt. Not always, but generally. And they became more routine, rather than being able to understand and articulate their understanding as to why this is being done. So people started giving up. Now going into your house means they'll throw a party where everybody will eat more than what they should eat, get drunk. This is what they do. Today's Griha Pravachan is just this. Overeating and getting drunk is Griha Pravachan. You're not going towards your well-being. Your well-being is going to be an uphill task. It's very important that you create the right kind of space around you so that you live well, particularly if children are growing up, where they can be easily molded either this way or that way. It's extremely important that the right kind of space and energy is created, otherwise any amount of intellectual knowledge, money, these things are not going to bring well-being. You're seeing this in the world. Affluent societies are not living well, simply because the fundamentals that are needed for life are not taken care of. We are in the process. All these things have been on my mind, but we've been too busy and we haven't done enough. So, looking at this, I'm just telling you, we want to create these things. At least the food that you eat, the water that you drink is always consecrated. So we want to create containers where if you keep water in this, anything over 20 minutes, it'll get consecrated by itself, automatic consecration vessel. How's that? So people can keep it in their homes, put water in this and drink water only from that. So even a traveling pack we want to create, where you drink only water from that, keep it in it for 20 minutes and then drink it. You're taking in water which is consecrated, because 72% of your system is water. It is very important that this behaves properly. It's very, very important, not just for physical health, definitely for physical health, but not just for physical health. To nourish this being into a greater possibility, it is very important how the water, the air… For air we have practices. Water, air and earth particularly, and the fire. How these four elements behave is important. And how the fifth dimension, which is the largest one, which is the space or akash. Today, modern science is recognizing there is something called as akashic intelligence, that is space, empty space has certain intelligence. Whether this intelligence works for you or works against you will determine the nature of your life, whether you are a blessed being or one who is going to be freaked and buggered around for the rest of your life. It simply depends on that, how this akashic intelligence behaves with you. For no reason, people are being hammered around by life, isn't it? For no reason, some people seem to be blessed with everything. It is not for no reason. It is your ability, either consciously or unconsciously, your ability to be able to get the cooperation of this larger intelligence which is functioning. When I say Akashic or the space, the fifth element, it is improper to call it the fifth element, it is because it's the element. All the other four just play upon it. The fundamental element is Akash or the space. It is upon that element the other four play. Now we are sitting here on a round planet, you know it is spinning. Earth spinning, solar system, everything. I want you to know, it is all held in place only by the Akash. You are sitting in your place, not because yourself, not because you got bumps to sit on. You are sitting in your place only because the Akash is holding you in place, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
It is the Akash which is holding you in place. It is the Akash which is holding this earth in place. It's the Akash which is holding the solar system in place. It's the Akash which is holding this galaxy in place. It is the Akash which is holding the whole cosmos in place. And no strings attached, just see. Just like that. Just held like this, isn't it? Now this Akash, if you know how to bring it to your cooperation, if you know how to get the cooperation of the Akash into your life, this will be a blessed life. I can teach one simple process, which anyway half of you will not do always. You do this much. After the sunrise, before the sun crosses 30 degrees angle, 30 degrees means something like this. Hail Hitler angle is 30 degrees angle. Before the sun crosses 30 degrees angle, once look up at the sky and bow down for holding you in place today. After it crosses 30 degrees, sometime during the day, any time, look up and bow down again. After it sets, once again look up and bow down. Not to some god up there, just to the empty space for holding you in place for today. Just do this. Life will change dramatically. Have you noticed even Tendulkar looks up? And have you noticed, it's not just him. Right from ancient times, when man achieved something, in wars, in great moments of success, because unknowingly there is a realization. Okay, some of them may be looking up for the Uparwala, but most of them, they manage to climb the peak, Mount Everest. This will naturally come. Have you seen this?
Yes, sir.
Consciously do this 3 times a day. If you get cooperation from this, life will happen in magical ways.
सन्नाटे टपकते जा रहे हैं, मौन से सब कह रहे हैं आदि योगी। योग के स्पर्श से अब योग में करना है तन मन। सांस शाश्वत सनन सननन, प्राण गुंजन घनन घननन, उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी। योग धारा छलक छन छन, सांस शाश्वत सनन सननन, प्राण गुंजन घनन और कर दो चूरा चूरा, पूर्ण होने दो मुझे और होने दो अब पूरा पूरा।